Kia ora guys, welcome to the first part of a two-part mini-series all about externals, how to prep for them, how to get through, how to make the best of it. So in this first episode, what we're going to be breaking down is how to prep for the MCAT and all of your externals in general. So let's get into it. So what are externals even all about? In your first year, the way that your externals will be set up is that you'll be sitting a maximum of 3 in each subject that you're taking. So if you take 6 subjects, times that by 3, and that's a rough amount of how many externals you'll be sitting. Each external is focused on its own individual topic, and these are generally quite different to what you would have done throughout the year in internals as well. The general exam structure is 3 to 4 rough big questions. Unfortunately, it's one of those situations where you might have question 1, but part A through to E. So don't let those big questions fool you. There is a bit more inside it than just that. This is dependent on the topic that you're sitting though, so it's important that you become familiar with the specific subjects that you take and what is expected in each. For example, your English-based or humanity-based externals will be much more essay-focused, and so that will be a bit different again. In your general maths and science externals though, you'll find that the questions become harder, if they're nice to you, as you get along. And what this means is that some questions can only be graded up to a certain level. For example, in the MCAT, for factorization or a simple rearranging type question, you'll find that if you looked at the marking schedule from previous years, that it will really only be able to be marked up to an achieved or a merit standard. Now, all of your externals, including the MCAT, aren't released until January, meaning that it's a bit of a slow burn to wait until your final results. So don't expect anything too soon from the MCAT in comparison to your other externals. An exam environment is notoriously oppressive and somewhat non-reflective of how you're going to be operating in everyday society. But for anyone that isn't 100% sure about what NCEA exams look like, it will basically be you'll have your bags either outside the room or at the front of the class. You'll have your phones turned off at the front of the class or turned off under your desk or just put on vibrate mode because you couldn't be bothered turning it off. You'll also have to take labels off drink bottles and have a clear pencil case so that there is no excuse for potential cheating. Your examiner will be there to help you with some basic questions as well, such as timing that you have left, and they'll also let you go on bathroom breaks so you can go and cry in the bathroom stall in peace. So there are a few different ways that you can go about sitting the exam itself, and this applies for both the MCAT and your final end of year exams. If you are somebody who struggles with time a bit, then using these can be really helpful because, as we know, time is one of the most important things that we have to do our best to control in an exam. So the first one is just giving yourself a time allocation across all your questions. If you go through the exam and that you see that you have 3 or 4 questions, it may be useful to evenly split your time over these questions and also give yourself 10 to 15 minutes right at the end for proofing and double checking your questions and giving yourself a chance to return to things that you may not have finished as well. The second one that you can give a go, and this can be particularly useful if you are feeling really nervous and going into the exam and you've heard a lot of horror stories and you're just not having a lot of confidence going in. And that is just trying all the basic questions first. And why this can be really helpful is it can give you hints for things later on in the exam or more difficult questions, but it can also help you build up a bit of confidence right at the beginning so you can get a better sense of belief that you can actually complete the exam. Thirdly is if you do get stuck on a question, it might be in your best interest just to move on from that question and return to it later in some allocated proofreading time or checking time. This is because we can end up spending a lot of time being stuck on a question and using it and just staring at a blank page, hoping for an answer to appear in front of us when that's not always going to happen. Now, for all of these strategies, we would really recommend just looking through the entire exam before you even try your first question. So when you first get the exam, just having a bit of a read through at all the questions so you have an idea of everything that is in the exam before you start. And this will help frame your mind around what it is that you will have to be doing and the areas that you feel that you can easily tackle first. These strategies are not extensive, and you can definitely personalize these to suit you better. It may even be useful to explore other ideas as well, thinking about the different ways or the different things that worry you about exams, and you might change your strategy depending on what that may be. Sweet, so that was what to expect for your first exam, which is your MCAT, and all of your externals going forward. In the next part of this, we're going to be going over how to prepare for the MCAT exam.